Once upon a circus time, the rock band Muse hired me to make an animated video for the tune Handler from their brand new album Drones. The video was also the stage background film of said song on their world tour. They chose me because they had seen my movie Toy Box. Here is a short clip.
Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them,
We obviously need a carousel, but where to start? From one fractal image. For the first sight, it's hard to imagine that it can be a carousel, but if we flip the picture, things immediately begin to look promising. I was using a little anonymous software called Photoshop to make it more promising. Then came the work with the colors. I needed more vivid ones. It was circus-like carousel after all. Since I imagined the toys spinning around this central round part, I had to erase the background. Toys had to disappear behind the carousel itself as they go around. I was working as precisely as a clown can. As a result, I got this. After almost each step, I duplicated everything. Believe it or not, I did it for a good reason. One copy of the newly made picture can be used as a displacement or a height map. As we all in the circus of animation know, height maps are black and white pictures that are perfectly good for transforming flat, two-dimensional graphics into three-dimensional models. The white parts are becoming higher and the black parts are becoming lower, with all kinds of grey shades in between indicating different heights. It has to be blurred first, not to get too sharp hills and valleys. Let's paint the heights now. We want some parts to pop up a bit. I don't have to be very precise because the whole movie was made in one shot with one camera angle, so the viewer wouldn't be able to see the full 3D of the carousel anyway. Remember, the lighter, white parts seem closer to the viewer, the darker parts seem farther. Let's see now the birth of the 3D mesh based on our displacement map. It's a little too 3D, but we can scale it. It's not looking bad, isn't it? Quite useful for my purposes. So now, as I put back my previous picture, that's why I needed duplications, on a new displaced model I have the fully textured mesh. While we are here, let's make one more version of the picture, so we can use it later in iClone as a foreground mask. I'm all for illusion of the 3D space. It's time to import the model into 3D Exchange. smooth it out a bit and export it to the main stage. We reached the level of using the mighty iClone now. From now on, things work almost automatically. We can check the colors and the alpha threshold of the texture, so we can get the clean edges of the future carousel. And that's it for the base. The lights are working fine, including the shadows. That's why we made a 3D model instead of just putting a flat picture in the middle of the screen. For a bump map, I like to use the same texture as the main one, the same as I use for the diffuse map. I want to have one texture for the possible glowing needs and another one for the background, which is practically the same as the original picture, just much darker and more blurry. I know, it is all quick and dirty, yes, but let me remind you that the camera won't give me and my tricks away. So everything is going fine, including that frontal mask I made to give the additional illusion of depth in the screen. But what about the mechanism of the carousel? Easy. I used iClone's rotate tool. It is basically just an already animated cylinder that we can make by ourselves. If I now make another cylinder that's big enough to be used as a spinning platform for the toys, the carousel's mechanism is half done. I positioned sticks that I prepared in advance on the edge of the big cylinder, one for each toy. Then I attached together all the elements, the sticks to the cylinder to the rotate tool. Once we start the rotating animation of the rotate tool, the mechanism of the carousel is fully done. Now let's put this mechanism in the context, into the scene, in the right position and scale. Since I don't want the cylinders to cast shadows or be visible, I made them dummy objects. Looking good. Now the population. Here is an example of the toy spinning around. positioning and scaling again. And this will be okay. The toy needs some animation. I'm just dragging one from the huge iClone library. It's a nicely animated rabbit, but he still refuses to spin around. That's because I didn't attach him to the animated mechanism. Now he is turning. He looks much happier like this. Until I put the big black evil handler in the center of the carousel. I'm using a tool motion puppet to mask the parts of the body I want to stay still. In this case, the whole lower part of his body. And then I tune it a bit with the Edit Motion Layer tool. The handler is alive now. This is it. Because of the copyright issues, I can't show the actual handler video, but I think I've shown the very essence of the whole movie in this presentation. In the actual music video, the carousel is full of toys and fairy tale characters that are becoming more and more aware that everything around them is just an illusion. Of course.